Hey everybody, mel0n here. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm very excited to be talking about a brand new mouse pad from none other than the goats over at Lethal Gaming Gear. They were kind enough to send out the brand new Neptune speed pad for me to take a look at, so thank you very much to Lethal Gaming Gear. I've been wanting to work with them for a very long time, and it's an honor to finally work officially with the goats, so thank you so much to them. Now, funny enough, this is actually going to be my first time using any of Lethal Gaming Gear's pads. I've been wanting to look at their Saturn and Jupiter lineups before and all their other pads because I've heard amazing things about them, but unfortunately they are very difficult to get up here in Canada, and with shipping prices being so high, it's hard to justify spending 50% of the cost of a mouse pad to get it up here. So I'm very excited to finally get my hands on a Lethal Gaming Gear pad to see what all the hype is about. So today is going to be a quick unboxing and first impressions of the Neptune. As always, I will have a much more in-depth full review of this mouse pad coming out in a couple weeks following this video, so get subscribed so you don't miss that. So let's get right into it and see how good these Lethal Gaming Gear pads actually are, because I do have some very high expectations for the Neptune here. Alrighty, so here is the packaging for the Neptune. Now, the Neptune's packaging is a little unique because this is just a giant tube. I haven't really seen a packaging like this before, which is quite unique. Traditionally, we see either mouse pads are flat packed or just rolled up tightly in a box. This is kind of a middle ground. I'm not sure if this will still have the same problems as rolled packaging, where the mouse pad will kind of crease and roll to go back to its natural kind of form, but we'll see how that is. Now, a couple cool things here about the Neptune. There is a bunch of different sizes available. So there is an extra large, which is 490 millimeters by 420. There is an extra large square, which is 500 by 500. There's an extra large, which is 1000 by 500. There is also a triple XL, which is 1200 by 550 millimeters. So there's a lot of sizing options for this pad. The smallest version retails for $48 Canadian. Now, a couple other cool things about this mouse pad. So this is going to be a speed pad, as we can see here, type speed, very fast, but it does have some interesting textural components that do give it a little more control than other speed pads. It does have Japanese foam as the base. Now, this is not Poron as the base. This is actually just a standard foam like we'd see on the bottom of the Vaxi PA or the GSR2, which I'm actually quite happy to see, because a lot of pads that did utilize Poron just didn't have the greatest execution, and a lot of those pads did suffer in terms of performance, where a natural rubber base would have worked a lot better, which is nice to see. Now, this does also have low profile stitch edges, and the thickness is 3 millimeters. So let's go ahead and take the Neptune out of its little tube here, and we'll go ahead and unbox it and see how this one feels. Now, today we're going to be taking a look at the 490 by 420 version of the Neptune. So I'm going to go ahead and pop off this top here, just kind of slides off like that. And there we go, and there is the pad itself. So as expected, the pad does kind of keep this natural kind of rolled state, so it'll be interesting to see if it actually goes away from that when I put it on my desk. Okay, so it does kind of go away. There is some creasing in some sides, but it's not too bad. So I'm sure over a little bit of use, this will just naturally roll out, which is nice to see. Now, the first thing I wanted to check was the surface. Surface does feel semi-balanced. I do notice a little more friction on the x-axis than I do on the y-axis on this pad. I'll have to look at the stitching when I do my full review. Now, one really unique thing about the Neptune is that despite this pad being so thin, again, it is only 3 millimeters thick, this mouse pad is actually very soft. Like, this does, you can actually push your finger pretty deeply into this pad, which is very interesting to see. This is something I'm actually very happy to see on a speed pad like the Neptune, because if you want a little more control and you're using dot skates or any other kind of small surface area skate, you can take it and just kind of press it into the pad to get more control, which is actually really nice to see. I know a lot of speed pads are traditionally a little harder. I love to see that softness here. Now, the stitched edges are, yes, as advertised, they are below the surface stitching. So if you run your mouse off, you don't feel like a lip on the side, which is nice to see. That also means there's not going to be any drag on your arm as you go up and down on the pad, which is another fantastic thing to see. Now, this base is what I'm most interested in, because this just feels, I already got cat hair on it. Okay, so this base is what's giving the softness of this mouse pad. So basically, when you press into the surface of the Neptune, you're just pressing straight through the surface layer, straight into the base, and then it stops when you hit your desk. So you can push right through this mouse pad, which is very interesting. I haven't seen that in a lot of mouse pads lately, so that's nice to see. Now, the base, I'm assuming, doesn't pass the finger test, which it does not, but if you put some pressure on it, so it's going to act exactly like every single other rubber base we've seen on the market, where if you put pressure on top of it, it will hold, but if you don't have any pressure, it will just slide around like no tomorrow, which is what we expect from a rubber base like this on a mouse pad. Alrighty, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go grab some mice. I'm going to do a couple test runs on this mouse pad to see how it feels, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I did a couple runs with the LGG Neptune on Kovacs just to do some brief first impressions, and I will say the pad is very fast. I actually ended up using the Obsidian Pros there on my X2H just to try and get a little more control, because those are very slow skates, and even with those, it did feel very fast. Now, I'm not very used to speed pads, so it's probably going to take me a little while to get used to the pad itself, but the pad did feel very smooth, very fast as advertised, and it does have a lot of actual dynamic control because you can kind of force your mouse into the mouse pad to get a little more control. The only concern I have right now with the base, because it is so soft and when you press on the surface you just go straight through the bottom base, my concern is that if you have an uneven table surface or like gaps in your table or there's something underneath it like a crumb or something like that, I'm not sure if that's going to affect the actual surface layer during use. So that is my one concern with it right now. On top of that, I did notice that when I was using it, it did kick up a bit of a plasticky smell from the inking. Now I'm sure that'll go away. I'm just going to air it out to see if it goes away, but it does kind of have the same smell as the GSR2 did out of the box. So I'll probably have to air this out for a little bit and see how that goes. But overall, I will say the Neptune definitely is a very interesting pad. Again, it's a speed pad, something I'm not very used to, but it is a very cool pad. I'm definitely going to do a lot of testing on this one. I definitely can't see this being very good for Valorant, but for Overwatch, Split, like more dynamic shooters, I can definitely see this being very, very good. So I'm excited to try this out. But that is going to be everything for today. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you again to Lethal Gaming Gear for sending the Neptune out for me to take a look at. I greatly appreciate it. I will have a full, much more in-depth video of the Neptune out in a couple weeks after I'm done this video. Maybe a couple more weeks than usual, just because I do want to do a lot more of in-depth testing on this pad, because it is a bit of a unique pad and I don't really use speed pads that much. So I want to make sure I give a good, fair review of this pad. So it may take a little longer than usual, but I will have a much more in-depth review out in a little bit. But that is everything for today. Thank you very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.